Right, it's the preferred method rather than removing the dash for getting changing out a fan on a Renault Modus, the blower fan, which is right up there somewhere. It involves taking out this vent duct up here, there, taking out this brace, taking out the clutch pedal, and manipulating the fan out of its housing, removing the motor fan from the back plate, and then reversing the sort of procedure to get it back in. So first things to do, remove the brace plate here, then remove this spout here. There's 3 torque screws on that, 3 13mm secure the clutch pedal bracket, and obviously it's a 3-finger jiggle just to disconnect the clutch master cylinder from the pedal there. That's the first step. Okay, and I'll just get those done. Right, so there's the bracing bracket out. 2 13mm nuts at the top and 2 13 screws at the bottom. Just pull it away from the bracketry, and then you'll see there, you can probably see, or not, the spout. It's coming from there. 3 torque screws on to remove that vent spout that blows to the footwell. Just do that then. So now with this ventilation duct out, you can now start to have a look at where the fan is physically located. Now, just throw a bit of light at it. Up there where you can see that white writing and the cabling going up there. So next thing, obviously you can't manoeuvre that out until you really get rid of the clutch. That will give you sufficient clearance to bring the fan and the motor down as the motor back plate as a separate item. So I'm just going to take out this clutch now. Just ping out the cable clips, undo 3 13mm securing bolts, and pop out the master cylinder linkage with the sort of 3-finger prong thing where you can do with your 3 fingers to pop it out. So I'm just going to do that now. Okay, there's the clutch pedal removed out of the way. You see just the 3 studs sticking out. The clutch master cylinder linkage just disconnected. It's just a pop fit back in. Now we look up there, and there's the fan motor. So that's fairly straightforward to remove. Up there, let's see if you can see that. Up there. Fairly straightforward to remove. I'll get my finger out of the way by rotating it, but of course the problem is when you come to try and get that past all the obstructions, to actually get it out in one piece is impossible, or virtually impossible I'd say, without breaking the fan. I tried for 4 hours and that didn't work very well. So it's just a case of taking the fan out, rotating it so you can see the fan end, and then just disconnecting the motor from that support back plate and taking the 2 pieces out as separate items and installing it in a similar way. So I'm just going to do that and take some pickies. So that cable there is just hinged on that spigot sticking out from the fan, and just hinges down and clips in. So you just have to get your fingers up at the top of the fan, push the lug in at the top left hand corner there, and rotate it on the spigot. You see that pivot point on there, and that will unhinge, and you just slide it off the spigot. So that's the wiring bit of it. To release the fan, you'll feel a lug and you just pull that backwards and rotate it about 5 or 10 degrees clockwise, and then you can remove the fan. So that's the easy bit. Then you just got to rotate the fan, manoeuvre that out, rotate the fan to get access to the front of the motor. Then you can release it from the back plate, which I'll show as a separate demo. But obviously, bearing in mind you'd have to do that in situ, so it's quite fiddly, but it's doable. So there you see, I'll come back here, you can now see the fan, and obviously that's a fairly big lump to try and manoeuvre down past the evaporator and air box, etc. Clutch pedal out of the way, so that's not a problem. Now, you may be able to see there that there's just inside that fan, where the boss is on the motor, there's a white clip arrangement. There's 3 clips there that hold the motor assembly to the back plate, and all you've got to do is get your screwdriver in there and pop those 3 clips off so that you can pull the motor fan assembly away from the back plate. That gives you 2 distinct parts that you can then manoeuvre down past the pedal box, and then put your other bits back in after you've got it out. I'll show you that in detail when I get that. I've got a spare fan. I'll demonstrate how to pop those clips out and release the motor from the back plate. Just film this from the side. Right, so when you've rotated that fan in its housing, you'll see these 3 clips here, these 3 white clips. You just put a small screwdriver in there, in the gap, and spring them off like that. Well, it's easier said than done when it's in situ, obviously, but it's doable. And pop that one off. Bear in mind we're doing this one-handed. That's that one, and then one there. So let's then release. There's 3. And you just pull the thing apart. This part, but of course this is easier said than done as well. Now it's in situ, but it's doable. You might find it easier to rotate it back, fan back into the cowling and work it with your fingers in between the gap, just to push the fan away from the inside, push the fan into the airbox and pull the plate away from the back, and then you can manoeuvre the 2 parts out of the footwell. So I'm just going to pull it, and you see that's moving backwards now. So I'm just going to pull it apart. Alright, so looking up there now, the white clip's disconnected from the 3 feet that secure the motor to the back plate. So now you just case of manoeuvring the back plate away, whatever way you can, if you're laying your back in the footwell, or do it from a kneeling position from outside the car. All we've got to do is achieve the separation of those 2 parts, which is fairly easy, and manoeuvre them down into the past the pedals into the floor. Here's my new fan. Just going to strip it down again. Those 3 clips, pop those 3 clips open, pull them apart. You have 2 pieces then. You have the fan and motor assembly to manoeuvre into the airbox, and then the back plate, which somehow you've got to line up. The way to line that to when you actually put it back in is to look at those Luca connections in there. I don't know if you can see that. And they've got that spigot there, that sort of key has to line up with the back of that part there, and you'll feel it will slot into a slot that locks that motor assembly. And the terminals are in the correct place, and then obviously as you push it in, you just make sure those 3 clips are clipped in. And again, that is in situ, so it's a bit tricky. You have to rotate the fan in and out of the airbox just to make sure. And I'm just going to strip this one down and put it in. Okay, just have a look up there now. You see that assembly. The fan is in the airbox. You've manoeuvred out very carefully so you don't break the fan impeller. It's a very delicate polypropylene part. So you have to be very careful manoeuvring it into situ there. And you see the lugs sticking up. That gives you an orientation for the back plate. You know, just when you start sliding it back on, when you move that into position. So I'm just going to do that now. Obviously, you keep that in line with that the key on the back plate, and and make sure it's true before you press it home, and click the little white plastic clicks on the front of the clips on the front of the motor. Okay, so I'm just going to manoeuvre that into its position now. There we are. Easy peasy. Just showing that key, the orientation of the terminal there, and then you can see where that motor key slides through. That's the key that locks it in position. And you've got the 3 legs that secure the motor there. So it's just got to go up into there now, unless it's in alignment with the motor. Right, takes a bit of manual dexterity, but eventually, by trial and error, you can see the lugs on the fan back plate. You would eventually line it up, rotate the fan, just come back a bit, rotate the fan, and just secure the 3 plastic lugs, which are quite easy to clip over. They might even do it as you're pushing the motor back into the fan plate. So it's ready to revolve back into the housing. So that's the final bit. I've just done that twice because I found out the fan I got from the breakers had a broken back plate. So I've taken the back plate from the fan, having just installed it once, and now taken it out for a second time. Put the old back plate on the new motor and re-secured it. The connectors just pivot back on and click into place, and just tied it goes to a cable tidy. And all you got to do then is put everything back as it was. Clutch, spout, heater spout, and then brace. I hope that's of some help in doing these without taking out the dashboard.